Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. Today we're talking about the best minifigs. And when we say the best minifigs, we're talking about our favorite minifigures. The ones that we like the best. Not necessarily like a poll or the store's opinion, but our opinions. And whose opinions? We've got Daniel, we've got Ethan, we've got me, Mark, in the middle this time. I kind of like it.
There you go, we're mixing it up.
I can look at both sides. I don't have to be just like become a stiff neck or anything. So
did I miss the bad minifigs video?
Yeah,
I brought my Jack Stone and my Unikitty and my Minions.
So the bad minifigure video, that's low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy to find bad. I would just get the whole Next to Night section and bring it and
Just
sit
pull
right
the
here.
out of the bag.
It would be over, and it's just too much to gripe about. So we're talking about our favorites. We're trying to stick with the positive aspect. We'll probably do bad minifigs at some point, but today is not that day.
Today's good minifigs.
In the famous words of Aragorn, we're not going to talk about bad minifigures today.
Oh yeah, I remember that part of the movie.
That was the extended. Anyway,
Right.
So we've got a bunch of figures here. Pretty much about 6 per person, right? Yeah, that's the number we ended up sticking with. And let's go with, we'll each talk about one, and then we're not just going through one person talking for 15 minutes straight, so. All right, let's see. I want to go with my right side, so Daniel, why don't you talk about one of your favorite figures here?
Oh, goodness, I didn't think about where to start.
Just pick one. Which one's your most favorite out of there?
Well,
can you pick a favorite out of that list?
No, I really can't. It was a struggle to keep it at 6.
You had to dial it back a little bit, right?
I did a little bit. I brought some extras in case there was some overlap, but we all coordinated pretty well and didn't have any.
It's a good mix of figures, I will say. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start on the far right then. We'll start on the very far right here.
Okay.
This is kind of an unusual one here. This was given away as a promotion. Well, I should start with his name is Biff Starling. So this is a figure that probably not many people have heard of. I'm sure we'll be showing a picture, but I can pass it to y'all if you want to take a close look. So his name was Biff Starling, and he was given away at this promotional event in 2002 for the World Space Congress. I believe it was an event that happened in Texas that was maybe alongside either, a space shuttle launch or something like that. But they had lots of people come out, and they had these promotional minifigures that they gave away.
So extremely rare. And what kind of value estimate do you have on that figure there?
Oh gosh, I don't think he's terribly expensive.
He's not super valuable. He's probably
I better look that up too.
Collectible, but not I don't think anyone really knows who he is.
It's not a common thing. And there were two different minifigs. So there was the male Biff Starling, and then there was a female Sandy Moondust was the other character.
Yeah, gotcha. So. Very unusual, very rare, and it's I actually remember. Dana or Chris from our Peach Lug up on the north side, they're big classic space fans, and they were mentioning this guy and talking about how weird it was and just a weird...
It's something not a lot of people know about, but it looks like you can get him for about $30 to $50.
Okay, not bad.
Not terribly expensive.
It's
nice
doable.
Kind of metallic printing on both the torso and the legs, which are both, I guess not technically exclusive, but exclusive to him and the Sandy Moondust figure, which were for the same event.
Very cool. Yeah, then that's. I'm guessing there'll be some people watch this who have never seen that figure at all before.
Some space fans are gonna rush out and buy this one, I'm sure.
Exactly. All right. Well, Ethan, why don't you go next with one of your figures here? And
I'll just start on the left. So
there you go.
This is Smooth Hair Leia. She's like a factory error figure. She was never supposed to be made, so it's super hard to come by.
Yeah.
But so the difference between her hair and the normal hair is just this hair has no texture at all. It's completely smooth, which makes sense for the name. But yeah, I think she's worth. Last time I checked, she's worth $500 on Bricklink.
Whoa, that's amazing.
So yeah, I didn't pay that much. I actually got her in a set. But I didn't pay very much for it all, so yeah.
So the original set she came in, as long as it doesn't have that smooth hair, is still an affordable set. It's $100, maybe more.
A little bit over $100, I think, depending on.
It's a Millennium Falcon set, right?
It is, and then she also came in the Tantive 4, which was the one with Antilles, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Is there any way to know which set she would have come in if it was a production error?
It's really weird because I got mine in the 2004 Millennium Falcon, but she also appeared in it was the 2009 Tantive 4. She just appears in just random sets, and it's super strange, but there's not really a set I guess, to really go after.
There's no metric to figure out which ones it would have had.
I would say probably
knowing the production dates or lines or something.
I would probably say the Tana 4, but even then it's like 1 in a million chance.
Yeah, so. Super rare, super hard to find. And it is, whenever you get something from the Lego factory that was incorrect, it's extremely rare. They're really precise with a lot of their figures and pieces, so having something that was not supposed to be in there is really special. That's why misprints are so expensive.
Yeah, and misprints with the pad printing process, that's something that just can happen when something is misaligned. But like a mold error like that is
completely different level. So.
Sometimes you see mold errors that are, if it's like a multi-stage mold where there's several moving parts inside the mold, it gets reassembled where something's like facing the wrong direction. Like I have some of those old faucet pieces, or sometimes you see the little hinge bricks with one of the panels facing the wrong way. But something like that is a completely different mold.
Yes, I think I've seen one here one time, but that was before a lot of Star Wars figures have gone up even more in value. So it was still hundreds of dollars, but it wasn't quite up to that very high number. So very, very cool figure there, Ethan. That's awesome. All right, and since I'm in the middle, I'll go with one of mine. I think I'll start on the right here. We've got the classic Forster figure. So these would have come in the Forstman themed classic castle sets. This one is special to me because it has the all black decorations on his torso. It also has the small black plume, which was extremely hard to find, still is. It only came in, I think, 2 sets, 2 different figures that I know of. And so it's pretty valuable figure. He goes for about anywhere from $80 to $100.
Wow!
So which is way more than I remember when I was a kid. This went for about $15 to $20 in Bricklink, and we were all like, "Whoa, it's so expensive!" And that's like a pretty average price of a collectible figure now. But he's gone up quite a bit, and it's mostly because of that feather. Yeah. And the torso is rare too, but the feather that was the first thing that kids lost back in the late 80s, early 90s of Classic Castle, and so having that plume intact and in good shape is very hard to find. So one of my favorites. I got a lot of Castle figures here, so you're going to hear more Castle throughout the video. But yeah, Forsters, gotta love them. Still a huge fan, and one of my favorites. I actually got this one very recently in a set that I bought here at the store, so you can still get these. It's just it was an expensive $300 Forster set. So yeah. Alrighty, and then what do you got over here on your blue base plate here, Daniel?
Well, I'll just keep going from the outside in, so I'm going to go through the rest of the Star Wars ones. Next up, we got OG Jango Fett here. This was the one that came in the Jango Fett Slave 1 set, and he has the I'm trying to remember the exact name of the color. If it's just violet or if it's like light violet or something weird. But anyway, he's got the violet arms and legs, and it's an unusual color. They used, I think it was the same color. Maybe it was the other one, either light violet, that they used in some Knights Kingdom 2
It's very similar.
Figures. So kind of an odd color that you see for minifig parts. This figure has gone up considerably. He's now probably, in terms of general desirability, I would say he's very close in comparison to Cloud City Boba Fett. I think people just like this kind of classic Mandalorian helmet style here. I also know with the recent advent of lots of people making custom Mandalorian figures where you need to source the helmet on your own, they'll custom print a head and a torso and some legs and say, oh, go get your own classic Jango helmet. Then lots of people are buying up the spare helmets online, and that's driving the price up even more. But I believe he now goes in the ballpark of $500 to $600.
That's what I think. That's right. Yeah,
mine has a little bit of damage on the legs, but Joe was actually telling me this morning that the legs are actually one of the cheapest parts. So I may upgrade those, but the rest of mine is in fairly good condition. So
very nostalgic, very cool figure. You actually have one of these as well.
I do. I don't know if mine's in as perfect condition as that one, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So.
And I know
he's got his dual-wield revolver.
Yeah.
In the old dark gray, of course. Yes. But I do like, I know that my friend Dom, he's a big Lego TikToker. I might even show a clip. It'll cover your eyes. Anyway, but he has been collecting those. He has, I think, like 6 or 7 of them.
That's crazy.
And so he has been helping to increase that already rapidly increasing price. Because, I mean, you used to be able to get this for between $20 and $60 for several years.
It was a sort of expensive fig. But
that was expensive, 5 years ago. But now it's just hundreds of dollars. Crazy.
Well, even the regular classic Boba Fett, even a few months ago, it was maybe a $20 figure, and now that's up to like $60, $75,
close to $80.
$80 to $100, yeah.
I think all of the hype around Cloud City Boba Fett has drawn more and more people, and the Boba Fett show has driven a lot of people to these classic Star Wars figs, which, unlike any other theme, I mean, Star Wars has only been around since 1999, but a lot of these figures were 2001, 2003, that kind of time period. There's not a lot of other figs that have gone up that much in value in that short a period of time.
Exactly.
I mean, you think about some of these other themes that were around in the 80s or 90s having that kind of nostalgia, but the Star Wars stuff just doesn't have that much age on it. But they kind of have the same aesthetic to it.
For sure, yeah. The classic look and the modern nostalgia really kicking in hard. So
absolutely.
Very cool. But speaking of modern nostalgia, what do we got on your base plate here, Ethan, that you want to share next?
I was going to keep going this way, but I feel like we have to talk about it.
There, yes,
we have to
exactly.
talk about Cloud City Boba Fett.
Well, while we're talking about Django, let's move over to
it only
Boba
makes
Fett.
sense. But so Cloud City Boba Fett, he's just, everybody knows
what can
who
you
he
say?
is.
It's iconic.
It's just, everybody knows who this is. So, his figure has actually exploded in value lately. 5 years ago, he was probably like $100, $200 figure, but now it's
thousands,
over $3,000, I think.
Yeah, I think you can regularly see them selling for about $3,000 plus. So.
Yeah, it's insane. Especially this one's in mint condition because my dad actually owns this one. He actually got it from the store.
Yeah.
So
that was the second one we've sold this year, I think.
Yeah.
So for thousands of dollars.
Yeah, maybe since like December or January, I think it was only when it broke 2,000. So now we've already hit 3.
It's jumping by $500 increments every couple of months.
So it's one of those things that people go, oh, why didn't I buy him when he was $300 2 years ago? And I'm like, well, it is what it is at the time, and people were probably going, oh, $300 for one minifigure?
Yep, I remember he was selling for $500 to $600 for a couple years, and we had a few in the store for that price. And I was like, that's a lot for a minifigure. I had no idea it would be almost triple that value later.
They're never going to make any more. So, the only thing people can do is find more in their collections from their childhood. So if $3,000 seems like a lot now, in 2 years he could be $10,000.
Yeah, especially in this condition. Like, he's perfect condition, so his value will continue to spike.
Exactly. It's unlikely that he's ever going to go down. But I think at this point, the only thing that could cause it to maybe plateau would be if Lego came out with a little poly bag of Cloud City, a similar one, within the next few years in like a $10 poly bag. Yeah. Then it could kind of dull the speed of which it increases, but I don't think it'll ever stop.
I feel like it would be a little bit cool though, because then people who can't afford to pay $3,000 could have something that looks kind of similar.
Yeah. They notably did not do it during the 20th anniversary when they were doing a lot of those other classic figures. They did the Cloud City Lando instead. And I think it's because they weren't willing to make another mold for that classic style helmet. Yeah. So that would be the only way we would ever see something truly comparable in the same way.
Exactly. Yeah, that I'm all about figures being affordable and like even rare ones being remade and stuff like that. But this is one I could see where they actually just totally avoided it, just because why not? It's so cool. Leave it like that,
Yeah.
But it's the holy grail and the white whale of all Lego collectors of Star Wars. But yeah. Awesome stuff, Ethan. Well, thank you for bringing it in, too, because this is... You don't see him around all the time. We've gotten him, as we said, a couple times this year, but still super rare, super cool.
I think he's pretty well cemented his spot as what will always be the most expensive minifigure that came in a regular set.
I think so,
yeah. Because his original retail set was only like $100.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, there's lots of weird oddball minifigures and, things cast out of gold and silver and things like that.
It's not a CMF. It's not a promotional
minifigure that came in a regular set. I think will always be the most expensive.
That's a pretty valid statement there, I think, for sure.
I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, anyway.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, if you think you have an example of something that could compete with that, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
I would be very interested to know if we have any contenders for that department. But yeah. Moving on, we've got much less valuable figures on my base. Basically,
cool.
After that peak, I don't know where we're going to go, but I've got a few here. Maybe the Castle fans will rally around here. But we've got the classic Knight figure. He never had a name. He was just Knight figure. I think he was like 1 or 2. And this was from the classic Yellow Castle set number 375, which I have a copy of, and this is from that copy. He was tied for being the first Lego minifigure ever produced, because some of these sets would have come out as early as 1978. And so that's tied with the old classic policeman and the classic space guys, who were all released in that time frame. So yeah, very cool. Without him, there would be no Lego minifigures. Without his success, none of this would exist. They'd all look different. They'd probably look like those big homemaker figures, which are very creepy looking. But yeah, so I really love them. I love the gray visor and the gray helmet, which are, I believe, exclusive to him. And obviously those stickers are all unique to that figure as well. So.
I think the gray helmet must have come in some space sets, I would imagine.
Ironically, no, because they didn't have any gray spacemen. So it was just the colored ones. So the gray, if you wanted a gray space helmet, which people do because of the newly created gray space torso,
right?
It actually is more valuable.
Option is to use the light bluish gray motorcycle style helmet.
Yeah, because this is the old school classic space helmet, and it has the thin crossguard because it's old.
There you go. So. Since this came first, should classic space helmets actually be called classic castle helmets?
The same time frame. So because they're released at the same time, it's the same mold. I don't think it's split. But
gotcha.
Yeah, but I love that classic helmet. It's really cool. I'm glad I was able to acquire it after seeing it in a Lego DK reader about classic Lego sets for many years, and finally was able to buy one. So
how much does that one go for?
About $100. Yeah. So not Boba Fett level crazy, but it isn't like chump change. Yeah. So
are any of the other colored ones, or with different logos on their armor, or any of them more or less expensive?
He's actually probably the most expensive one, pretty consistently selling at 100 or maybe 80 if you get a good deal on him. But the other ones are 80 or a little bit less. So they're just a little bit less desirable than that one for some reason. He kind of represents the castle itself.
Yeah.
So he was like the lord of that castle. So
the pink with the golden crown is definitely the most.
And they're reviving it for modern CMFs and the 90th anniversary castle coming up in just a little bit, probably very close to the release of this video. So, keep an eye out for that. You'll be able to get your own Classic Crown Shield and Classic Crown Knight figure as well. So,
I don't think we'll ever see visors like that again.
Nope. Extremely simple, classic 70s
very
design.
Fragile also, if I'm not mistaken.
They're pretty fragile. They're not bad, but they're thin and old plastic now. They're over 40 years old now, so it's, pretty crazy. But
Back to me.
What do we got, Daniel?
All right.
Oh, yeah, there we go. More awesome Star Wars.
This is everybody's favorite classic fig, Jedi Knight.
Jedi Bob.
Jedi Bob. Yeah.
No, Jedi Bob is what everybody calls
in
this
Lego, he was Jedi Knight.
Yes. On Bricklink and everywhere else, which is so weird. They don't even have it in parentheses. If you search Jedi Bob on Bricklink, nothing comes up.
That's
you have
weird.
to know that
heartbreaking.
his technical name is Jedi Knight, and I don't know if it said it on the box or not.
I don't think he had a name.
This was the most general, inconspicuous figure in that set at the time of release. I mean, sure, you had blue super battle droids that were awesome, and then they needed an extra Jedi, so they made up this guy with some kind of generic looking robes and a pretty generic face, and they gave him a name that didn't mean anything, and somehow he wormed his way in the hearts of millions. And so Jedi Bob is now a very legendary figure. Now, an interesting note about this one is the only exclusive part to him is really the torso. The head you can get in a Life on Mars minifigure, I believe, as well, and maybe even some city sets.
Like a train conductor, maybe.
Yeah, the head is very common, or was very common in the late 2000s in city sets, but with the pupils in the eyes. So this is the non-pupil in the eye version, and then the torso is also essentially similar to Mace Windu's, the only difference being that the little bit of chest exposed on this one is yellow instead of brown for Mace Windu. But his hood actually kind of covers it. So if you want to sort of have a Jedi Bob on the cheap, you could get the head elsewhere and use the Mace Windu torso and then get the other parts, and the hood would kind of cover it. But any true person would know to look for that little yellow triangle. It's essentially the only exclusive part to him.
Exactly. Now, how much does Jedi Bob go for nowadays? I know he's pretty expensive.
I've had this one for a while, but
we sell him for $270.
$270.
So yeah.
$270 for a little yellow triangle on the chest.
So he might have gone up even after that.
He could be climbing even still, but that is an expensive little unnamed Jedi. Well, we know his name.
I may need to go bump the price on that Life on Mars figure.
If it's the same head, then yes.
Yeah, it is.
We might have to. Maybe we should save those for Jedi Bob reconfigurations.
I think we do have a bag of a few of those heads back there.
Okay.
It's the torsos that we never see.
Yeah, because that's something. Yeah, well, we'll never. You don't see them that often. We've sold them every now and then. Do we have one in stock right now? Ethan, you do the Star Wars feed.
No, we rarely ever have one in stock.
That was one that flies off as almost as
soon as we restock them, people buy them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But if you've got a big bin of vintage Star Wars torsos and you see those gray ones, check it for the yellow triangle instead of the brown one.
Because you could be looking at $100 torso.
Even then, the brown one, that Mace Windu, he's worth about over $100 now.
Yeah, he's still a lot.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. So, that early Star Wars nostalgia is still super strong, super amazing.
And that was in the classic gunship set. I don't think I mentioned that. Most people probably
the first gunship set that they made. Yeah,
the very first one, which we actually just sold one on Whatnot recently.
Yeah, without figures, but yes,
without figures.
Yeah, so very cool. But moving on to Ethan's base plate again. What do we want to talk about next?
I'll talk about my favorite, which is the Demogorgon.
There we go.
I feel like he's just got so many exclusive parts on him, and I don't know, the detail is just very good. You don't see figures this detailed that often.
Yes.
Especially from like a one-off set from a show that probably will never have another set made for it again.
Tragically, that might be the case. I was hoping that with Season 4 they would release a set or two, but...
Yeah. I know they released the Brickheads that had a Demogorgon in it, but it's not from like specific season. I think it was from like maybe Season 1, but like not from the newer stuff. So
yeah, and that is a super cool figure. It has the centaur looking legs. I want to say what's the name for that? Little goat legs, very unusual legs.
Satyr?
Yeah, satyr. That's right. Yeah. So.
And then he also has this like, I guess it's not now. It's not exclusive because they put this mold on like a flower set.
The orchid. Yeah.
And they but I mean it's pretty cool. I was expecting this piece to be made out of like rubber or something, but it's actually plastic, which is really nice.
Nice. And it looks like he even has printing on the head underneath, so that if you wanted his little petals closed, he can be just like creeping around before he goes to gobble someone up. So.
I didn't know for a long time that it was actually a headgear that went over a head. I thought the whole thing was one molded piece. So it is actually it's a headgear really that goes over a head.
Interesting how that works out. A lot of times with those larger molded pieces, they'll just have a little space to put over the torso.
Yeah, like the Simpsons CMFs and things like
which is what I expected. But then I got the set from here actually pretty recently, and I was like, oh wow.
Nice.
It's totally
so a recent acquisition, but a really iconic figure. I love the Wolverine claws to give him extra large hands.
And the dark tan color.
Yeah.
Very neat.
It's really nice. Yeah. I think he's what, around like $80 now?
That's gone up from what I remember. I remember he was selling for $20 or $30 when it first came out. However, the set is now retired and climbing rapidly, so he's probably 80.
Yeah, I think it's
plus.
like 500 sealed now. So
very expensive set. Like
200.
It was 200. Yeah. Which is still a pretty good deal because I think the parts were like 2,800 pieces. So
and Dark Blue Leaves first appearance there. Lots of unique figures. It has like how many? 12 figures. So 8
something
figures, 12.
Like that, but it's got a lot of exclusive
that many.
molds.
It was
I think it was like
the 5 kids and Hopper and Joyce.
And the Demogorgon. Okay, so more like 8
around 8 figures. Yeah. But a lot of them were. I think all of them are exclusive. So
and
very valuable set.
Minimal Stranger Things after that, except maybe the Barb Comic-Con figure, which we don't have here.
True. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if they'll ever do that again. I mean, it was very kind of dark for kids to begin with. I think a lot of people were surprised they did one at all.
I don't know how they got away with it in the first place, but then now that they've opened the door, they haven't continued doing anything, so it's too bad. So.
I think they actually recently just did a keychain Demogorgon, which is really cool. I think it's out of stock right now, but it'll probably restock eventually. But
so they must still have the license.
They probably do, but they just don't want to make stuff for the darker seasons, I guess. But
Lego only likes to make stuff for popular stuff selectively. Yeah, not all the time.
I mean, any other set they would make would have to be a very large building. Like I've seen lots of mocks of like Hawkins Lab, Starcourt Mall, or now like the Creel House. So I don't know if any of those are truly as iconic as the house from season 1.
Yep,
because that was like a main like location.
And lots of the
and it was Lego Ideas,
like the lights, the Christmas lights.
Was it Lego Ideas or was it just its own thing?
I think it was a theme.
That's what I couldn't remember.
Was it just a one-off set?
I don't think it said Ideas in the box.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Correct us in the comments, but we're pretty sure that's the case. But with all that information, it seems like this guy will probably continue to climb in price pretty quickly. So, I mean, you say it's like, oh, it's not as valuable, it's my favorite. Well, it'll be valuable soon. Give it another couple months. We'll see. So.
I think everything here on the table will probably be climbing in value for
especially once they release season 5?
He'll
probably
in
skyrocket
a year or two,
again,
yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Well, I actually do have a pretty cool figure to follow up with that. I've got this very humble-looking figure here, but this is the calling card. Well, actually, it's the business card of Kjeld Kirk Christensen, who is the owner of Lego.
Wow.
And in order to get this figure, he doesn't appear anywhere regularly. You can't buy an opportunity just to meet him. You have to just happen to bump into him. And
Well, I think maybe if you go on the inside tour, he's probably usually on those.
I don't know for sure, but I would be surprised if he was there every single time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because he's a busy guy. He's one of the most wealthy people in Denmark. He's actually one of the few people in Denmark that can afford a Ferrari.
Yeah.
But exactly. But so I got to meet him. With Josh and John from Beyond the Brick on my trip to Denmark in the Lego house on the top floor. We were walking around looking at the newly updated masterpiece gallery with all the builders from around the world displaying their creations, talking with them, and then we saw him, and we went over and said hi to him, and Josh and John being the very go-getter personality, they're like, hey, do you have any of your your sig fig? He's like, oh yeah, let me see. He's like, oh, I've got 3 left. So he pulls them out and hands it to us, and we're like, "Oh my goodness!" So I also got a picture with him.
If you'd only had 2, do you think that they would have shared one and let you have one?
They probably would have kept one for them and then given me one. But I don't know. At that point, I would have been. I wasn't brave enough to ask. So I was just like, "Thank you." And so we got a picture, and it was amazing. So he is pretty valuable. I've seen him on sale on Bricklink, ironically, for upwards of $1,000, but I think there's only one available right now for about $600.
I think they've stopped letting people list them on Bricklink.
Yeah,
now that Lego owns Bricklink, they're trying to discourage the resale of things like this, because that's not their purpose or their intention. To be, it's supposed to be. They use them practically as business cards, but also as a memento of when you actually met the person.
Yeah, it's very personal. I would never even dream of selling mine. So it's like a memory of that cool trip and meeting a really important figure in the Lego, the most important possibly of the Lego world. So
no doubt,
really cool. And
very awesome.
Yeah, so very cool. Yeah, awesome. And then that's the rarity is there too. Cause, I don't know how many he's handed out over the years, but it's probably a sizable amount, but not that many. He can't have met that many people and remembered to hand him the figure each time. So yeah.
Well, if you know anything about these business card minifigs, they can be very expensive even for anyone's, especially if they work, at headquarters in Denmark. But it's all about who the person is and how well they're known. So this is very much the cream of the crop.
The top of the list of this category for sure.
Without a doubt. Yeah,
that's pretty fun. But moving on here, Daniel, what do we have on your base plate here?
Yes. All right. Well, I'll keep going down the row. We'll go with the green ninja here. Yes. This is one we recently talked about in our classic ninja video. Mm-hmm. This is one of the most iconic ones from the 2000 wave of. Gosh, I gotta remember what they're called. They're like mini superhero packs or something was what they called them, but they were these little packs of minifigures that just came by themselves. Now there was a Rock Raiders one, which we'll get to in a minute here, and a couple Star Wars ones and some City ones. Ninja had the most exclusive minifigures out of all of the waves. So there was a male and female green ninja, and then there was like a whole extra faction of these red and black color schemed kind of
samurai guys.
So, yeah, they're all fairly exclusive and fairly valuable, but I think the Green Ninja is one of the ones with the most recognizable, the most kind of legendary status, and we talked a little bit about in that video about how that probably kind of fed into the lore of Ninjago as it succeeded classic Ninja.
Exactly.
So a very fun figure, very simple. It looks like all of the other Ninja minifigs from that classic Ninja theme, but this green color was entirely exclusive.
Yep.
So
and
very unique.
What kind of value does that figure go for nowadays? Do you have an estimate?
Well, I bought mine sealed. I bought all 3 minifig packs sealed together, and that was ridiculous. But I believe the figs by themselves are maybe in the ballpark of $120 to $150. I think that's what we sell them for here in the store. I believe right now we probably still have the green ninja and the female one. I'd have to double check and see if we still have them. I know they were there when I put those figs online and stocked them. I don't think we had any of those red and black guys from those minifig packs, but we may still have some of these.
Gotcha. Yeah, very collectible, very cool. It is also the only figure with its own stand and background in the table here. I mean, Boba Fett's got this cool display case, but that's another added feature of getting that just for a hero pack figures. I mean, that's pretty cool. So I'm missing mine. Chief would have had his, but I lost that back in the early 2000s. I lost that long ago. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some of those stands. I mean, we obviously have lots of the sports ones from those basketball.
I could probably find a Rock Raider stand here in the store somewhere.
Maybe one floating around somewhere. Not sure about the card, though. That'd be tricky.
Yeah, no, not likely. But moving on with after Green Ninjas, what are we coming to over here on this side of the table, Ethan?
I've got a Queen Amidala here, which is actually kind of skyrocketed in price lately.
Mm-hmm.
She's, I think I got her for like $150 maybe, but now she's pushing upwards of like $250.
Yeah.
So yeah, she came in a Gungan sub in like around 2012, I think.
Exactly.
And it was like a $60 set or something, but now it's like $500 sealed. So very sought after figure. I actually found out the other day that there's two variants to this figure. For the crown, there's a matte gold, and then there's like a shiny gold version.
Interesting.
I'm not exactly sure which version I have. I'd have to like compare it to the other one, but it's still very cool. And this head mold will probably never be used again, or the dress maybe. So.
Yeah, no.
Two totally unique molds. And that set retailed for what, maybe $50-$60?
Maybe like something like that. Yeah. Not very expensive at all.
And it's unique molds are one thing, but super elaborate molds like that, because that's a huge base for the figure to stand on. That's a huge headgear.
Yeah.
It's really like one of the most detailed minifigures around, and it's awesome. I remember that being pretty expensive its entire duration. For several years, it was in the $80 range, and then it's now climbed up with the price of the set too. So yeah.
It's one you see a lot in books about like minifigure history and things. They'll have a picture of the original, like, you know, to prototype these figs, they usually mold them out of clay in a very kind of large scale, and then they'll scale it down. And that's one you see pictures of a lot in any of those, you know, DK books about minifigure history and collectability and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very cool. I love the rounded dress base. I would love to see Lego do more with shapes like that for figures. Yeah. But I don't think we'll ever see it, and that's what makes this figure so special. So
I would have loved to see her in a set that was like with some of that beautiful Naboo architecture.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the kind of cliffside house there where they're looking out over the water.
Oh,
maybe like a royal palace or something.
A throne room.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so many. The architecture on Naboo is so fantastic. They could have done a really awesome set.
Yeah, I don't think she could even fit in this sub, but she's in that set regardless. So it's crazy.
It was
a nice throw-in, but
for sure.
You know, she's not even in that scene. I mean, they take the sub, and I guess they meet her after that, but.
She's not even wearing the same outfit, though.
Yeah.
So. She never probably saw the submarine. It went back into the water.
They wanted to make the fig, and they had to find a set to throw it in.
Which is completely fine, because we got a cool figure out of it.
We'll take it. Yeah, that's awesome.
There's rumors that they might make a new one with like one of her starships that she had on Naboo, but
that'd be cool.
I would love to see one of those starships.
Yeah. But it's just a rumor.
It would never be in chrome, but maybe some metallic silver coming their way soon. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I think that there's many Padme outfits to go off of. They've made most of them, but I think they could still have fun with that for sure.
The person who did the costumes for that character must have had a field day.
Oh, yeah.
The whole department was having a field day with that character.
The entire prequel trilogy costume department was just off the walls. But.
Off the charts, for sure. Very cool. All right, so we've gone 4 figures each. I need to cover another one on my board here.
It's going to be,
It's going to be the classic Infomaniac from Lego Island. Now, you actually know more about this figure than I do. This would have come in a poly bag? Or with the original game? Or
I don't know how you got it. I have no idea, because mine was I have one that's just the minifig. I didn't buy it.
Bricklink doesn't give us that much information about it. It just kind of appears.
Yeah.
And so
sometimes Brickset has more information on this.
Yeah, we'll have to look up Brickset after the video and figure out where. But he is very clearly based off of one of the main characters of Lego Island 1, the original video game. And he is a crazy character. He can fly. He can move things telekinetically with his mind.
Disassemble his body parts.
He can separate himself and come back together, like most of the minifigures on Lego Island. So
he's multilingual.
He's basically a superhero, a very crazy character, probably Kryptonian. And
he's at least a a zillion years old, I think was what they said a few times in the game.
He's a mysterious character, but he's awesome nonetheless. And it's fun to have a character from the game because those figures had very unique faces, and he has a very unique face print as well, and a unique torso print. And even has the Lego logo on his back, too. So, really cool figure. He's not worth a ton. Not everyone really knows who he is, because a lot of people missed that game in the 90s. Yeah. But he's worth about $50 pretty regularly on Bricklink for a good condition like this one. So, just got him actually this morning. Because he was on my desk to buy for a long time, and I'm just like, this will work perfect as my sixth minifigure, because I only had a couple to choose from at my
a very good minifigure.
Studio. So
it's one of the only ones that's really the most true to how they looked in the game. There were some of those extreme stunts ones that came out later on.
Sort of similar.
Pepper and the Brickster and another Infomaniac, but a little different in the art style.
Yeah, he is game accurate, basically, so it's really fun.
That is.
But, yep. All right. So, Daniel, I hope you're talking about the figure that I'm thinking about. There he is.
We're going in order. This is, I actually talked about this one in my room tour video with Grant and Michael. This is Achu from Adventurers, the second wave, the Jungle Wave. This is a fig with all exclusive parts. You've got this insane headdress. Now there was an unprinted version of this that came in another set, but this is the only way to get the printed version. His head has some war paint or something over the eyes there. The part that's always hardest to find is this incredibly detailed cape here with it's got the head kind of from the sun disk. It's that same pattern from that little chrome gold sun disk that came in a lot of those jungle sets. He's got a great kind of medallion on his chest there with some ceremonial feathers and things. So very, very kind of Aztec, Incan, Mayan, all of those kind of rolled into one inspired.
Mesoamerican.
Yes, Mesoamerican inspired for sure figure. And the headdress is very much kind of like a bird, so there was maybe worship of some kind of bird spirit as well as the sun with those discs. So a very, very iconic, cool figure, very colorful, very vibrant. He goes in the ballpark of, I want to say, $75 to maybe $80, so not insane.
I might have to get him for that price. That sounds really good.
Yeah, he came in the largest set from that wave, a medium-sized set in that wave, and even a very small set in that wave.
So a couple different sets.
Yeah, I mean, the smallest set was literally probably 25, 30 pieces. It was a little tiny box set that was probably, retailed for $5 or $6. But, with how cool the minifigure is, it's still gone up that much in value.
Yeah.
It's one that at Brick Fair, Virginia last year, I asked, out of all the people selling minifigures, there were a few people that had some older ones, and I asked somebody, do you have Achu? And I think they thought I was playing a prank on them or something, like doing like one of those crank call setup jokes.
Yeah. Well, Achu is it's that's what you do when you sneeze. You say Achu.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that's the Lego-y kind of puns that they like to do. But that's his name. I was correct. The person just was ill-informed and didn't know what I was talking about.
They obviously didn't know anything about Lego,
Yeah, they thought I was trying to prank them or something. I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm actually looking for a figure.
I'm actually looking for this minifigure, but now I have him, so.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love that cape. So vibrant, so colorful.
Yeah.
And I remember having this figure as a kid. But I played with him, and he was basically unrecognizable by the time it was done, and I don't even know where the parts went anymore, so I'll have to get one at some point because he's really cool.
Yeah.
Love the Adventurers stuff. So.
Very fun minifig.
Yeah, and he's gone up a little bit, but not quite to the level of Star Wars, but and he'll probably continue to climb slowly. So,
yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Ethan, what other figures do we have on your board here that we want to talk about here? Got a couple left.
I've actually got a Phase 2 Captain Rex, which is, I think, the one and only Phase 2 Captain Rex they've ever made.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like, what, almost $300 now?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Continues to climb, of course.
A lot of it, the value is from the helmet and the pauldron, which is like a printed pauldron, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
He also has a unique face, doesn't he?
He does. I think it also came on the Phase 1 version of Rex, but it also has those creepy clone eyes that were
the
so
creepy
cursed.
Clone faces, yes. The Clone Wars era style minifig faces were a little bit
uncanny.
Edgy.
Yeah.
Especially the Palpatine from that. That was so
bad.
His eyes were so wide. It was amazing.
I mean, all of them. The Dooku, the Mace Windu.
The Dooku was really bad.
Yeah. Very, very scary.
But yeah, surprisingly, they haven't made another version of Phase 2 Rex, which is just crazy to me because he's one of the most popular characters. But
yes.
Hopefully one day they'll make like the blue Y-Wing he had at the end of the Clone Wars, which would be a perfect set. But still haven't gotten an updated one. So.
Yeah, we haven't seen Captain Rex in any Disney Plus shows or anything yet, have we? Like, he hasn't been revived since Clone Wars, right?
He made a cameo in the Bad Batch.
That's right. So
he did do that, and then we got the new season of Clone Wars with him in it. But
yeah.
Besides that, I don't think so. I think it's just been the Bad Batch.
Well, hopefully they can kind of sneak him in somewhere else so that we're able to have Lego have an excuse to make him again, so that he's not necessarily hundreds of dollars, because I know a lot of kids wish that they had this figure, and they'll buy custom ones for $20 or $30 instead because he's so awesome and so collectible. And it really is a beautiful figure, too. He's got some extremely detailed printing.
He's got a nice waist cape.
Unique pieces like the waist cape and the pauldron and the head and torso and helmet are all unique. So it's just really a special figure. One of the best Star Wars characters, too. I know we've talked about many great Star Wars characters, but Captain Rex is right up there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have a good excuse to make him now because they made the new helmet mold that actually has the little hole for the rangefinder. So... They really should do it soon. So all the Lego executives watching this video, definitely listen to what we're saying here. This is this is a new Captain Rex. Printing money for you guys. So just kids want this. So I don't know. Everybody wants this. Maybe they'll figure it out.
But every time they do it, people will find something new to complain about.
Well, that's everyone.
You put holes on the helmet, and they say, "Yeah, you shouldn't have put holes on the helmet." Then you take the holes away, and they say, "Why are there no holes on the helmet?"
Can't please everyone.
Star Wars fans are notoriously a little bit grumpy. Maybe Grumpy J has gotten to them a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, so
it's hard to please everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, but love the figure, and he's very collectible, very rare, and
definitely one of the most sought after. What I would consider, modern Star Wars
minifigs. For sure.
He's been over 100 for years. Not even before the massive price increases in all the Star Wars departments, but so he's always been valuable. So everybody likes Captain Rex. Yeah, one of the OGs for sure. For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I will get to the last on foot minifigure here that I've got. This is
another great one.
The same series that the Ninja figures came from. They also released a couple Rock Raiders figures, 3 of which were even less detailed versions of the original Rock Raider crew. They had like the wrong visor and incorrect legs and stuff. And they were just really didn't look good.
Yeah, odd.
But this one, Chief, was really, really quite special. Almost like on the same level of detail as the Ninjas. They're doing different colors. Even like a teal arm was a different color that had never been made in a minifigure piece before. Unique printing for his torso and head. And Chief was shown on pretty much every piece of Rock Raider promotional material that cover the video game and the animations for the video game, but he was never in any of the sets.
Which is why it's insane, that was the only way to get him.
Exactly, and I think that would have come out right after the Rock Raiders set, so it was probably available at least Lego stores, or at least places where they sold Lego at the time, like Toys R Us and whatnot. But he was really cool figure, really important for Rock Raiders fans. He's also gone up quite a bit. For a while, he was probably $20 or $40 for many years, like many of these figures. But in the last year or so, he has skyrocketed to roughly $300.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is a lot for a original Lego theme and a lot for a single figure. But he is important.
And that's just for the minifig, not like sealed in the box or anything with the stand and the card. Yeah, a used one.
I've seen used ones as high as $600. Asking price. They sell for $300, but they're asking more now, which is crazy.
Since it was such an iconic character, and out of those Rock Raiders Mini Heroes packs, him being the only exclusive one, that's probably comparable in value to all of the exclusive Ninja ones combined.
Yeah, in the ballpark, for sure.
Yeah.
But disclaimer, this one is in very poor condition because this is one that I got original when it was back in the day, and I played with it quite a bit. He's got many scuffs on his teal arm. He's got a crack on his right side, a pretty long one.
Oh no!
And so he's got a little bit of a windmill loose arm there. Yeah. And the torso and face print are a little bit rough around the edges, but
from a distance,
from arm's length, he looks great, and for that reason, I don't have to spend $300. Yeah, I don't have to spend $300 because I can keep him farther away where distance he looks fine. So,
and since he was your original, you know that
it's my
part
damage,
of your history and your story, not somebody else's.
I put all those miles on that figure. It's good. So
exactly. I feel like damage is different when it's the minifigure that you've always had versus buying a damaged one from somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't just find it at a garage sale. I put all the wear and tear on myself. So yeah. Well, that's all the ones here. I have one left. Danny, you want to cover your last figure here?
Yep, my last figure here. This is from the 50-year anniversary of the Lego brick, and this came in an exclusive book. It was the Premium Collector's Guide book, and there were 3 exclusive elements in this book. Basically, there was a 2x4 chrome gold brick.
Nice.
Very cool, and it's printed on the side. It says 1958 to 2008 for the 50-year anniversary. Very cool thing. For a brick, it's expensive. It's $20 to $30 maybe. Pretty expensive
good.
For a good thing. Another thing is a 1x8 brick in yellow, and on one side it says Lego Fan with a registered trademark, and on the other side it says Anno, ANNO 1958, which I think is Danish for the year 1958.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was designed to go on like a convention name badge. So I think this was when they had more involvement with Lego fan events, and they kind of understood how those things worked, and so it was kind of a cool thing you could add to your name badge. Again, expensive for a brick. I think it was in the ballpark of $15 to $20 maybe for a 1x8 brick. And then it came with this minifigure, very plain, red legs, plain smiley face, red hat, and this torso with the 50 years logo on it. Exclusive to the book. This minifigure is worth, I think, $150 to $200 for the
way
minifigure.
More than the bricks, yeah.
Personally, I would arguably say it's one of the least cool things that came in the book. I really like the chrome gold brick and the 1x8 brick that you can use on your name badge, but it's a hard to find figure, but kind of expensive, and has an interesting very expensive. It has an interesting kind of story that goes with it. Now we're well past even the 60-year anniversary of the brick that was in 2018.
Yeah.
So
what 90th anniversary sets are coming out? Is that for the Lego?
That's the anniversary of the
brick?
company.
Yeah.
So the anniversary of the brick is any year that ends in an 8. So that was 2008.
Gotcha.
2018. 2008 was when they also did that town plan set.
Yep.
And then for the 60th anniversary in 2018, they did some smaller vintage sets. They did that micro scale one of all the very iconic old sets. That was all 60th. Yeah. So that's years that end in 8. Anniversary of the company is any year that ends in 2.
Gotcha.
So we're in 2022 now for the 90th anniversary. The 100th anniversary will be in 2032.
Yeah.
And then there's a 3rd anniversary. I think it's the anniversary of the minifigure or something, and I don't remember which year.
Because that turned 40 not too long ago, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always some anniversary. It gets a little hard to keep track of exactly what's being celebrated at any given time, but there's always some fun promotional historical things that come out for suckers like me of Lego history to spend.
We're all Lego fans here. It's okay.
Yeah. I very much like the history of the company related things, though. Whenever they have things for old logos or old minifigures or things, I'm very much a sucker for those kind of things.
Yeah, it's a very cool figure. It's interesting that it came in basically. Was it a book, right?
So it's a book that's about this big, and it came in a yellow box that had a clear front window, and it had those 3 things.
Gotcha, visible. Yeah.
Very
cool. Yeah, and a nice memento to that. The different anniversaries that Lego likes to celebrate. They really keep up with those anniversaries. Good for them.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
that's awesome.
There's almost always at least like a one of the buckets coming out that's got pretty much just generic parts in it.
Something involved with something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, and then so moving on, Ethan, what's your last figure you want to share?
I've actually got the original Watto, who came in Watto's Junkyard. I think it was like 2001.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
That's right.
Yeah, he's all like, what is this? It's not sand blue, is it?
I think that's medium blue, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
so.
He's super plain looking. He's got this printed tile piece, which I've only ever seen on my version, because I've never seen like this printed tile with any of the other ones. But
yeah,
he's He's about what, $200 now?
Yeah, he's gone up a lot too.
he was in the Complete Saga Lego Star Wars video game.
Oh,
so
yes.
That might blast his price up a little bit, but yeah, super cool figure. He's one of the classics. I feel like most collectors who get the older stuff for Star Wars probably maybe have him.
Very desirable for the old Star Wars fans, for sure. So.
Yeah, super plain looking, but very expensive.
Well, he's got some. He doesn't have any printing on that custom piece like the early minifigures do, but he's very
mold is pretty nice, though.
Detailed mold. I mean, he's got that big pot belly and the little accessories all attached to his belt, it looks like, and his detailed face. So it's a pretty cool figure and a very unique color. Only came in one set, right? So,
Watto's Junkyard.
Very cool.
And that's something they still don't really do, is kind of give that front piece to make characters look, physically fatter or larger in the front like that.
There's only a few that I can think of. One would be the guy on Jakku who was played by Simon Pegg. I'm trying to remember his name now. And then one of the dwarves.
Unkar? He's
and then one of the dwarves also had like a big belly piece that went from his headgear. So there's a couple of
Bumber,
but he definitely would be in the biggest belly contest with those figures because he's got some girth to him. So. But we still love him.
Yeah, those early molded characters. Yeah, they really didn't print on them. I mean, Jar Jar was another one.
It was up on his head.
Kind of mold
even with like Jabba the Hutt, just no printing.
Jabba, same thing. A lot of the other pod racer drivers. I mean, the original Sebulba and I forget the tan ones.
A little skinny guy.
Really thin guy with the long kind of neck.
It's funny because that little skinny guy, I don't remember his name, like the little tan one, he's like $100 as well.
Yeah, they're absurd. They probably got broken easily. I think he has some very thin...
Vacuumed up, lost. Doesn't look like he's Lego.
Doesn't look Lego,
But yeah.
Well, thankfully this Watto wasn't tossed. He's in your collection, safe and sound. And it was a couple $100 now, 200 plus, right?
Yeah,
so,
200 plus.
Wow.
Which is crazy, but yeah.
All that Star Wars stuff. If you got Star Wars figures at home, hang on to them, or if you want to, resell them for a huge profit, whatever you want to do.
Especially if you had those early ones, 99 through about 2003.
Yeah.
Super collectible. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one last figure, and I cheated, as Daniel said earlier. I cheated and put him on a horse because he looks way cooler on the horse than just by himself. But
we also had one. He had a case. I had.
It's my extra thing. There,
we got one that has a large accessory.
Exactly. So this is the White Dragon Knight, or I call him the Dragon Prince because he looks very special and different compared to a lot of the knights from his set. This would have come in the Black Knight's Castle, which would have been in the not Dragon Knights, the Black Knights set line. I think Bricklink is kind of changing the term, so if it's not correct anymore, don't at me. And so this figure, he's pretty normal. He's got just a normal printed chest plate on his torso. He actually wears a physical chest plate piece over his neck. He's got a old dark gray helmet and opening visor, but the really special thing about him is his white dragon plumes, which are super expensive because they only came in this set and an accessory pack. So just one official set and one accessory pack that was repeated for a few years.
I never see those in white. I mean, we've got a very small secret stash of the old plumes, and I never see the dragon ones in white.
They were, the dragon plumes can be upwards of $50 on Bricklink, and sometimes more or less depending on what condition it is. These are pretty good. I got this figure for $20 on Bricklink years ago, so I feel like it was a pretty good savings. I got the horse later, but and I think even the clips on the barding are broken. That's why I got it for a good deal.
Those always get broken.
It doesn't bother me. I don't put the swords hanging down. It obscures the horse's legs anyway. So, but he's pretty cool. The total for this entire package is about $200. Wow. So, which is a hefty chunk out of that $800 to $1,000 set that he comes in, which has a lot of cool dragon knights and dragon plumes. I wish Lego would come with produce more plumes for knight helmets. They still use this visor even to this day, but they don't have any new shape of plumes. They made one for the older pirate revamp, and they haven't done anything since. So
the kind of flame piece.
Exactly, flames or something, some other pieces that they can decorate because they had that smaller size for plumes, and then they kind of stopped making stuff for it. So maybe if they resume and make a few more, that'd be awesome. But yeah, one of my favorite knights. Glad I got him back when he was affordable. Now that he's a little more expensive. So. Yeah, and that's my last figure. I think that'll wrap us up for all these figures. But before we close off, I really want to get you guys' opinion on for your base plates. How would you rank these? I know these are obviously your top 6, but if you had to pick 1, 2, and 3, like, can you even do that?
Make Ethan go first.
Okay, so 1, 2, and 3.
If you could only keep one, if you could only keep one,
are we?
and then if you could only keep 3,
are we throwing out monetary value? Is it purely aesthetics?
It's based on your desirability. Like it doesn't really matter how much money it is. How much do you want the figure in front of you versus the other ones? So.
That's hard.
You don't know?
If you cut out the value, it'd be easy.
Yeah.
Easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't think about the value. Think about how much you like the figure. Just your opinion.
Total, including everything what we like.
Okay, let's say this. You're getting 3 new figures to duplicate it. Which one would it be? You're not getting rid of any. So.
Cloud City Boba Fett, obviously.
Yes.
The Demogorgon's just super cool looking.
Yeah. So Cloud City Demogorgon.
Maybe Captain Rex.
Captain Rex, yeah.
Yeah, they're all so cool looking. So.
Mm-hmm. You could always use another Captain Rex for different scenes. So, yeah.
For sure. And Demogorgons.
Very cool.
Army build.
Yeah, but I would say that your base plate, Ethan, a lot of these, like, some of these figures like Jedi Bob or even the Ninja or Achu, the castle guys especially, can be used in more situations than one. Yeah. Like, you don't necessarily need that many Princess Leia's or Padme's. Exactly. You don't need more of them. But yeah. So. Interesting. What about you, Daniel? Any rankings or opinions on your base plate there?
Well, I may... So now, since I brought these ones here, there are some that I didn't bring either because they were overlapping with other people or some other things. So Cloud City Boba Fett, if he had been on my plate, would probably be in my top 3.
He's the best, probably.
If I just picked out of what was here, though, I'd probably go Achu number 1. Green Ninja 2 and maybe Django 3.
There you go. Wow, no Jedi Bob. I get you. Wow, okay.
He's iconic, but only for the legend, and he doesn't have that many exclusive pieces. So I think his visual appeal is only for people who are in the know, which is also cooler in its own regard. You get respect. You can brag to people
the community
who know what it's about and know the story behind it. But in terms of pure shelf appeal and visual interest and things, I think that's how I.
The more colorful figures are reaching out to you, I think. So
yeah, for sure. Django and the Green Ninja I might swap, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah. For
Achu
me,
definitely number 1.
For me, on my plate, I could never not have this figure after that wonderful experience. But that sentimentality aside, I think that the 2 castle ones here on the base plate mean more to me in my childhood and all that than the other ones here. Probably Chief as well. So I have to go Classic Knight, Forster, and then Chief. And Infomaniac is really cool, but I saw him on the computer more than the minifigure.
True.
And then the White Knight made more sense later as his values increased. So that's my story for my figures here. But thank you guys for bringing all these amazing figures here to show off and talk about and sharing all your thoughts and all your nostalgia and the value and talking about minifig prices. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it has. So.
Now I can load them back up in my safe and put them in my armored truck and take them out.
Lock them back up forever. Yeah, exactly. I think you have them on display, isn't that right?
I do,
So,
yes.
And you probably have a nice shelf for these too.
What's the point of having? I mean, I know people who have some very rare things, Mr. Golds and some of those ones that are cast out of metal that they do keep under lock and key, but
at least in a locked case. But
yeah, I just don't know how much enjoyment you get out of that other than knowing that you have it. But, to each their own.
Exactly. Well, thanks for bringing these out, guys. This has been awesome. We'll have to do this again sometime with more people and kind of rotate out and see what other. Sure. I know we were actually hoping to have Joe on this video, but he forgot his figures and he's a little bit further drive, so he'll be on next time.
For shame.
We'll do this again. And thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with us this whole video. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Do it.
Let us know which one is your favorite out of all these figures. I'm guessing it's Cloud City Boba Fett, but let us know if there's an upset. We want to hear about that. It's awesome. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Good? Everyone's good? Is everyone comfy? Good. AC's running? Good. I got a headache.
These chairs have no lumber.
We need to get some new chairs and tables.
Just a pillow or something.
Yeah, we need maybe a nice bench or a couch.
Couch would be nice.
Oh, we'll work it out. Anyway.
A countertop height couch or height couch.
Now I'm confused now. Anyway.
All right.